Question number 7, Phil Twyford.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. My question is for the Minister of Finance. Why did the government, through its memorandum of understanding, agree that the Reserve Bank could introduce loan-to-value ratios without an exception for first home buyers?
Mr Speaker.
Honourable Bill English.
Mr Speaker, because we've read the Reserve Bank Act and support the independence of the Reserve Bank, neither of which things the member seems to have done. We don't agree with how the member is characterising the Memorandum of Understanding. The Reserve Bank has always had the independent power under the Reserve Bank Act to use macro-prudential tools, including LVR restrictions. The purpose of the memorandum was to put in place a proper process which included consultation with the government and others if the bank was considering the use of such tools. There is no question of the government agreeing or not with the bank's decision or any exemptions to it. The Reserve Bank operates independently. This question is another example of Labor's gradual move away from an independent Reserve Bank.
That has nothing to do with the question. Supplementary question, Phil Twyford.
What guarantee can the government give existing homeowners that their mortgage interest rates will not rise as a result of higher loan-to-value ratios?
Honourable Bill English.
Well, Mr Speaker, this shows again a front bencher of the Labor Party asking the government about how it's going to set interest rates. We don't do it.
Point of order. Honourable Trevor Mallard.
Mr Speaker, given your new strict approach to the co-leader of the Green Party, I want to ask you whether 3832 B and C apply in this case.
And they do. I'm going to invite the member to ask the question again, and I expect the Minister to simply address the question.
Does he stand by his statement that if it weren't for LVRs, interest rates would have to go up for everyone?
Order.
Order,
that's now a slightly different question to what was asked.
It is slightly different, sir.
Well, no, I invited the member. I invited the member to repeat. Order. I invited the member to repeat the question he asked.
What guarantee can the government give existing homeowners that their mortgage interest rates will not rise as a result of higher loan-to-value ratios?
Honourable Bill
Speaker,
English.
The government can give no guarantee because the government doesn't set interest rates. I know under the Labor Party that's where they're heading.
Order. The Minister has no responsible for the Labor Party policy. Supplementary question, Phil Twyford.
How will his KiwiSaver policy help first home buyers when it frees up just $5,000, when his new LVRs policy means Auckland first home buyers may need a deposit of $90,000?
Honourable Bill English.
Well, Mr Speaker, in case the member still doesn't understand independent reserve banks, the LVR policy...
Order. Point of order. Honourable Trevor Mallard.
Mr Speaker, I'm going to ask you whether, in this case, 3832B applies.
No, it certainly does apply, and a standing Speaker's ruling 1763, members should not start the answer with a political attack on the questioner or the party from which the questioner comes from. Would the member like to re-ask his question? Order! Phil Twyford can repeat that question.
How?
Point of order. Right, Honourable Winston Peters.
You said that ministers should not start out an attack on the questioner. That's what you just said, which I understood was precisely Mr Norman's point earlier on this afternoon when you sat him down and everybody else that wanted to contest the issue at the same time.
The member should go back and look at the Hansard, and he'll note then that the type of question that was asked by Dr Russell Norman. If members ask a loose question with a lot of inference and a lot of political stick, they are likely to get something back as well. I've invited... Point of order, Honourable Trevor Mallard.
Mr Speaker, I'd just like to support the comment made by Winston Peters. I think there were two areas where you intervened on Mr Norman. I think you are confusing the two.
Order. If the member's now starting to question my ruling, I will take a very dim view of that, and the member will not be here for much longer. I have asked Bill Twyford to repeat his question.
How will his KiwiSaver policy help first home buyers when it frees up just $5,000, when his new LVR's policy means Auckland first home buyers may need a deposit of $90,000?
Honourable Bill English.
Mr Speaker, the member's assumption is wrong. The LVR policy is a policy of the Reserve Bank. In New Zealand, under the Reserve Bank Act, our Reserve Bank is independent. The member may not understand that, but that's how it is.
Supplementary.
Supplementary question, Phil Twyford.
Why did the government set a 10% deposit requirement for welcome home loans in the KiwiSaver First Home Deposit Scheme when most first home buyers have no chance of scraping up a 10% deposit to get a mortgage?
Honourable Bill English.
Mr Speaker, the government made a set of decisions around KiwiSaver and welcome home loans, which would mean that if the Reserve Bank brought in restrictions, then first home buyers would get a better go than would otherwise be the case. And then the Reserve Bank took into account the government's policy decisions. So the government's policy decisions had to balance off the opportunity for people for first home buyers to be able to get an opportunity to buy a home under a pretty restricted environment on the one hand, but on the other hand respect the fact that the Reserve Bank was signalling very clearly it felt that low deposit loans represented a risk to financial stability. That's in the Reserve Bank Act. The Labor Party used to know what the Reserve Bank Act was.
Supplementary question, Jami-Lee Ross.
Has the Minister received any reports in support of loan-to-value ratios?
Honourable Bill English.
Well, Mr Speaker, as I've made pretty clear, it's not a matter of whether the government or anyone else supports or otherwise the LVR restrictions. That's a matter for the Reserve Bank acting independently. However, I have seen examples from some other organisations. One person who said, "We support loan-to-value ratios. We've been calling them for them for ages as part of reforming monetary policy." That was Phil Twyford.
Mr Speaker.
Order. Supplementary question, Phil Twyford.
Does he stand by his statement?
Order. Order.
Does he stand by his statement that if it weren't for LVRs, interest rates would have to go up for everyone? And given the BNZ put its rates up this morning, citing LVRs, has he missed something?
Honourable Bill English.
Mr Speaker, I have pointed out the argument the Reserve Bank Governor has made, which, as I understand it, is that if he does have a range of ways of cooling the housing market, one of them is to put up interest rates. He has stated a preference he'd rather not do that. As it turns out, New Zealand is one of the fastest growing developed economies in the world, and if he's the first country in the world to put up interest rates, it could have a big effect through the exchange rate on our economy, and that's one reason, among others, that he prefers the LVR tool.
Question number 8, Paul Goldsmith.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. My question is